Hello and welcome to the BA Sports Podcast. Today is going to be episode number 4. I'm your host Adam and I have Ty with me. We are recording today on Thursday, July 28th, 2016. We have a fun show lined up for you today. We're going to start with some quick hitters before we go to the Indians trade rumors. We'll talk about Ty Lue and his new extension. Also, there's a new Cavalier in that building. We'll also be talking about Josh Gordon, his reinstatement to the NFL. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. Let's go ahead and get started. Ty, what's up?
Not much. You know, it's a little weird being here on a Thursday, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, a little bit different this week, trying to get it going a day earlier. We got some stuff going on tomorrow. We didn't have time to record, so.
All right. And if you haven't heard the news, we're going to be uploading on Podomatic and iTunes from now on. We're going to be moving away from SoundCloud. We hit our storage unit limit.
Right, and then it just gives us a lot better options with the Podomatic and iTunes. It's really going to give us a chance to really grow as a podcast.
Right, they offer some more advanced statistics, and actually they offer a little ad revenue too. So
Absolutely.
It may
Hopefully
be 0.1 cent per page view, but maybe you help us upgrade our equipment in the future. Who knows? So yeah, just some updates. Check our Podomatic and iTunes, either or will be great. You can find those links on our Facebook page. And, yeah.
Also, you can hit up our Twitter.
Yep.
But we'll go ahead and we'll get into our quick hitters now.
Yep. First thing off the list, I think, is Peyton Manning was cleared of ACL issues, which surprised me. It was looking pretty damning to him a little bit with the whole getting it shipped, his wife getting it shipped to her at her address.
Yeah. It was a little fishy, all the circumstances, but the NFL said after a 7-month investigation that they found no credible evidence. So everything seems to be all right for Peyton Manning. So I'm kind of glad because he's that one. He's always been a real good guy.
Right.
At least, he's always portrayed himself as a good guy. He's always been real clean, done things the right way. And I really hated seeing these accusations.
Yeah, especially in the NFL. I mean, he had those problems in college. I'm not sure if you heard those with the assistant at Tennessee,
right, yeah.
But do you believe this? Do you think he's actually clean, or do you think it's the NFL trying to protect him?
I don't see a reason for the NFL to protect him. I mean, technically he's not an NFL player anymore, so what are they protecting?
Right, but arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, going out with a Super Bowl win in his last year, a storied career. You don't think they would try to protect that reputation a little bit?
They might, but I just like to believe that Peyton Manning is just a good guy and he's a clean dude and does everything the right way, so I'm just going to stick with that.
Fair enough. But yeah, so he is cleared of all issues. They're still investigating the other players. I know they're investigating James Harrison and some others.
I think Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews is on the list.
Yeah. So we'll see how those turn out. Maybe we'll have some news about that coming soon.
Do you think Peyton Manning is the cleanest superstar, like as far as reputation goes? Like, can you think of a more perfect superstar?
I mean, he's definitely up there, especially as quarterbacks go. I mean, Tom Brady has his stuff. I think Joe Montana's up there as very clean. Dan Marino, some of those quarterbacks.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be just NFL. Like, you can go the entire sports world. Other than like LeBron James, there's never really been anything negative against LeBron other than him going to Miami. But that's not exactly anything damning on his character. It's just
I think Steph Curry's pretty clean.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph Curry's, I personally don't like him just because I'm a Cavs fan, but I think he's a very clean player. He obviously is keeping a great reputation. I think that's about it, though. I mean, most baseball players, as we know, have been involved in a steroid scandal, especially past players. Maybe not this current generation, but
yeah, for Peyton Manning to go 18 years throughout his NFL career and seemingly never have any off-the-field issues, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Almost as impressive as his entire 18-year career.
Yeah, definitely a storied career. That pretty much finishes up the Peyton Manning discussion. I think we're going to move on to
Aroldis Chapman.
There we go. Aroldis Chapman. Really don't know how to pronounce that name. He got traded to the Cubs.
Yeah, the Yankees shipped him over to Chicago. Great move for the Cubs. They're World Series contenders, and then they desperately needed that left-handed arm in the back of the bullpen.
Right.
Chapman, a stat that I found absolutely fascinating. I know you're not a big baseball guy. I'm more of a baseball guy than you. 15.2 Ks per 9 innings. So he averages almost 16 strikeouts for every 9 innings he pitches, which is far and away better than any other pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, I like you said, I don't know a lot about baseball, but that's a very impressive stat average was that a strike and a half almost?
Yeah.
Strikeout and a half every inning. Like
Pretty much, yeah.
That's impressive.
That's real impressive. I mean, his fastball helps out a lot. He's obviously known as being a hard thrower. He holds the record for the fastest pitch ever recorded at 105.2 miles an hour.
I'm surprised that's not higher, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I feel like we see pitchers breaking 100 a lot. I don't see how they can't get a little bit higher than that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me personally.
105 is pretty damn fast.
Yeah. No, that's an understatement. It is very fast, but I feel like they can get a little faster.
Yeah. I think I heard a stat. Since he came into the league, I think it was 2010, he's thrown almost 2,000 pitches over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
And there isn't any other pitchers anywhere near that mark.
Wow.
I think the next closest is somewhere around 600 or somewhere in that range.
That's a crazy stat. So it looks like the Yankees received 4 prospects in return.
Which I don't know if – I guess they did get one shortstop. I'm not real positive on how to pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try it. But they did get one shortstop that I guess is supposed to be pretty good. I don't know a whole lot about the Cubs farm system. So, I mean, we'll see in a couple years how that trade turns out to be for the Yankees. But right now, definitely the Cubs made that move to get them to the World Series and hopefully win it not hopefully, but
yeah, right.
As a Cubs fan, hopefully win it for the first time since 1908.
So I heard he was maybe involved with maybe a little Indians rumors. We were maybe trying to swing him our way.
Indians were in the running to try to get him. Him and one other relief pitcher from the Yankees. Miller is the guy's last name. He's a phenomenal pitcher as well.
Okay.
I would have liked to see Chapman come this way, but he has had off-the-field issues this year in Florida.
Right.
He was involved in some kind of domestic dispute where he shot off the gun 9 times in his garage or something like that,
wow.
but never at anyone, and he was cleared of all charges.
Just popping off in the air a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was suspended for 29 games.
Wow.
But I would not mind seeing him in the back of the Indians bullpen.
That would have been definitely a big help. Do you think it would have been worth it, though, giving up our farm system? I mean, they obviously had to give up quite a few prospects for him. So
right, and I'm sure that they're looking for top prospects, and the Indians do have some real good farm system. They got Bradley Zimmer and Clint Frazier and all those guys coming up, and I would have hated to see us part ways with any of them because I'd like to see what they can do for us, in Cleveland here in the future. But the Cubs definitely made the right move in going and getting Chapman. We'll see how it works out for them.
Right.
Hopefully the Indians can find out in the World Series when they're playing each other.
Yeah, it seems our team and our farm system is very young. It seems like our championship window is maybe a little bit longer than the Cubs right now. So I think it may have been foolish to give up some of our great young players that are developing and growing as a team for this pitcher when we have the farm system to keep growing and maybe haven't hit our potential yet. Maybe the Cubs need this just because of their World Series drought and what it means to the city. Maybe they need to get over the hump a little bit harder than us.
Well, the Indians as well as the Cubs are two teams that are pretty well known for taking the time to develop their farm system.
Mm-hmm.
They draft their players, they put the time in to develop them, bring them up through the system. Baseball is kind of weird to where, like Francisco Lindor, he could have been in the major leagues, his first day.
Yeah.
But they took the time, put him in the minor leagues, let him develop, try to get his defensive game a little better, try to get his offensive game on the MLB standards. And when they called him up, it paid dividends because he's been nothing but amazing since his first play in MLB. And
right.
The Cubs are another team that has done very well of growing their own prospects and letting them develop.
See, all this talk of the AAA, the AA, single A, the big farm systems in baseball, it makes me really want. I'm obviously more of a basketball. It makes me want the D League to be more of a household name and get that farm system. Have our draft picks go through there. This is sort of off topic, but it just came into my head.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I'd really think that professional sports benefit tremendously as well as do the athletes from having a minor league system. I think that there's, there would be a good cause for the NFL to go and get a farm system of some kind of, a minor league. Jared Hayne, was it a rugby player?
Yep, rugby player in Australia.
Yeah, he came over, played 1 year for the 49ers, made some noise doing kickoff returns and stuff. He came out and said, he retired after only 1 year.
Right.
And he said that maybe if the NFL had some kind of minor league, he would consider coming back.
Right.
So I think that's something for all professional sports teams to look. And NBA kind of has started to do that with the D League. They've just recently, within the past couple of years, started affiliating D League teams with teams. They can't charge and all that. So I think, the NBA is on the right path, and hopefully one day the NFL will follow.
Yeah, the big thing with the D-League is, though, their average salary is $20,000.
Really?
Yeah, $20,000 to $25,000 per
low.
season. They get their housing paid for, but if you're going to have a developmental league, you need to have some competitive salaries instead of going to Europe or all these other leagues. Like,
yeah, that, doing that would obviously bring more talent to the D-League, which would, increase revenue and all that. So it kind of confuses me.
Yeah, I mean, we're not too far from Canton, and I wouldn't mind driving over there and going to a Canton game if...
Right, I mean, watching Jordan McRae before he got called up, players like that, that eventually do make it up to the NBA.
Right. It will definitely be interesting seeing how they develop it. Yeah, it's something I really hope for, especially with the way baseball's done it. They've done it the right way, and I think they get a lot better players and more talent out of it.
Right, they're more seasoned when they come in. They're ready to go.
Right, they have some experience. All right.
We'll go from talking about the young guys coming into the league to some of the old guys going out of the league. Amari Stoudemire is probably the most recent retirement that I remember seeing. It's a pretty big name. What do you think about Stoudemire calling it?
I mean, I think he had a little bit left in his tank, but what really surprises me is he chose to retire as a Knick.
Yeah.
Not a Sun.
Not a Sun.
That's how I remember him. I mean,
right.
He's a Phoenix Sun to me, and the fact that he went back to the Knicks and signed a one-day contract there to retire, that kind of speaks volumes the way he was treated his last year in Phoenix. I think he was definitely not a fan of that, which I don't think anyone would be, but that really, really surprised me. Him and Steve Nash on those 7 seconds or less Suns teams were great to watch in the pick and roll. I mean, he had that one great year in New York before Melo came, but I definitely don't see him as a Knick or a Heat player or whoever he played for. Like, he is definitely a Sun. And
he's a Sun, and, I don't, you kind of forget about the time he spent in Miami and all that stuff because you think of him in Phoenix where he really made the name for himself. And then, obviously with him retiring as a Knick, that's what we saw him last. So, I associate him as a Knick. And for Stoudemire to finally call it a career, I was kind of surprised by the timing. I just wanted, with Derrick Rose and all the, we talked about it a couple weeks ago with the Knicks and their new lineup.
Right.
I'm surprised Amari didn't want to stick it out for one more year. Even if he was just a role player coming off the bench, at least he's coming off of a bench into, a more talented team.
Right, yeah. Definitely surprising. I mean, he had a great prime. I think people forget how dominant he was, and there was rumors for a while that he was going to come join LeBron in Cleveland, but he had a great prime, and I don't know if he gets the Hall of Fame, but he's definitely Hall of Very Good.
I like that, the Hall of Very Good.
So it'll be interesting. He has a case for it with his career with Steve Nash and that team, so skipping from basketball over to NFL, Greg Jennings also retiring, the former Green Bay Packer.
Yeah, he's another guy that retired from a team that where he didn't make his name. He made his name in Green Bay, but he's retiring from Miami.
I mean, even Minnesota, he was more well-known than Miami. I mean, definitely a great player back in his prime. Him and Donald Driver really held down that Green Bay team back when Brett Favre was there, and even Aaron Rodgers, favorite target of his.
Yeah, I think, he kind of benefited from having a great quarterback play in Green Bay. But, that you can't blame him for that. He took advantage of the opportunities that he was given. And so then he did go to Minnesota. And he was pretty successful in Minnesota before going to Miami.
Right.
But
and he's definitely well known for one of the greatest YouTube videos of all time, when he put the team on his back. Have you seen that YouTube video?
I don't recall it off the top of my head.
I would recommend everyone to type in Greg Jennings put the team on your back after this podcast. It is one of the funniest videos I've ever found on YouTube and ever watched. It's a video of a guy playing Madden, and you'll just have to check it out. It's very, very, very funny.
A little teaser for that.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah. So skipping in the NFC North, also Charles Tillman, Peanut
called it a career. He had, speaking of videos, his retirement video was pretty cool.
Was it? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he put a video of him just going through everywhere, and he had his family involved, and he was just. He's known for, they call it the peanut punch, where he just knocks the ball out of everybody's hands. So he would just be walking by these people and knocking everything out of their hand. And then at the very end, he goes and clocks in or put his time card in, and then hung up the cleats, as a symbol of his retirement.
Yeah.
And so it was a really cool video to watch, and it was very, a good way to close out a career that, he made with his peanut punch.
Yeah. I mean, obviously known as the Chicago Bear. He did play for Carolina last year. Yeah. And unfortunately lost in the Super Bowl. I mean, I was hoping for him to get a Super Bowl ring. I mean, he's always been a favorite player of mine. Just the way he plays, the physical aspect of his game is amazing.
Yep, he wasn't never afraid of anything.
So I definitely one of my favorite players, and it's good that he retired a Bear. I like when players go back and retire with their team. So.
And then Eugene Monroe just announced his retirement as well. He is, I believe he's suspended at the moment, or was going to be suspended due to substance abuse. He stated that he will never stop fighting for legalizing marijuana, especially in the NFL, because of the effects that he feels that it has, which he would know obviously much better than I, being an NFL player.
Right.
I don't know what it feels like to wake up the next day, on a Monday after a game, the kind of pain that they go through. He says that the medical marijuana can really help NFL players.
And I think I have to agree with him on that. I feel like maybe smoking marijuana or however you choose to ingest it, can be a lot better than popping these painkillers, taking these shots that these players take. I mean, we've all heard the horror stories of players not knowing where they are and still going out and playing.
Right. I mean, just recently, Calvin Johnson, when he just retired, and in an interview, he said that they pass out painkillers like candy in the locker room.
Yeah.
You go in, all you got to do is say, "Hey, coach, my back hurts," and they're throwing you painkillers.
Right.
So,
And it's surprising that some of these players don't have more addiction issues with the way they.
I'm sure there's a lot more
yeah.
of it that goes on than what we realize.
Right. But I don't know. It sucks to see such a good player retire.
Right.
But I can't fight against his cause. If he feels like this is what's best for the league and if he's passionate about it, I say go for it. I mean, it can definitely help a lot of players.
I agree with you 100% there.
All right, and then last but not least, we have a Cleveland Cavalier legend,
Yes.
Sasha Cohn, retiring.
The one and only.
I mean, we didn't know Sasha very long.
And neither did Jason Terry. I don't know if you guys have seen that video where he goes, it was a game against the Rockets, and Sasha's out there on the court, and they're getting ready to inbound the ball. And then it's got Jason Terry, I believe it is, sitting there, and he sees him stand there. You see him look at him, and then he had to hurry up and go, and he's looking at the back of his jersey trying to figure out who it is because he has no idea. So I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know Sasha for long. Played for 1 year. Helped us win a championship, so I'll love him forever and always. Deep in my heart, he'll always have a special place in my heart.
Absolutely.
Helping Mozgov, being the other Russian guy on the team. But
and I thought what LeBron said at the championship parade about Sasha was, it said a lot because, he didn't get the minutes
right.
that, everybody else got.
Yeah,
he barely saw any playing time. He rarely saw the court.
Right.
But LeBron, give him credit for he came in every single day and worked his butt off. He helped them practice. He went hard in practice and every single day and called him the true professional because it's not easy to do that when you're not getting minutes.
You're right, exactly. I mean, luckily with him retiring, I think we do have a good replacement coming in.
Yeah.
We got Chris Birdman Anderson. We just signed him to a deal. I think he's definitely a strong replacement. I mean, I think he has more than Sasha had. I think he's definitely an enforcer type that can maybe replace Dante Jones if he leaves the team, which I would imagine they would release him. I don't really see him coming back, but
Yeah.
I definitely like that choice coming in as a backup center.
Yeah, Birdman, he spent time with LeBron down in Miami. He's another one of those James Jones, Mike Miller type players that apparently obviously earned LeBron's respect down in Miami by the way he practices and the way he plays.
Right.
And LeBron obviously felt strong enough to give him the thumbs up to come join him in Cleveland, so that says something because Birdman hasn't always had the best history.
Right, especially in Denver where he had the substance use problems. He got suspended for quite a while, I think.
He was almost kicked out of the league.
Kicked out of the league for his addiction problem. So it's good to see him have such a redemption story and obviously come back with the Heat very strong and then hopefully come back with the Cavs and get another championship belt.
Right, yeah, I think he is, just like you said earlier, just going to take Sasha's role and only get maybe a couple minutes a game, and even in garbage time, barely. I don't see him seeing a whole lot of playing time, but when he is out there, he can be a lot more of a defensive presence and even probably a little bit more of an offensive presence than what we saw out of Sasha.
Right, yeah. So definitely a good locker room guy, too, I would imagine, if LeBron vouches for him.
Yeah. I think he's been in the league 15 years. I think
like
2001 he came in the league, which is a little side note. 2001, he did actually play with the Cavs in Summer League.
Really?
So this is his second time around wearing a Cavs uniform.
Little fun fact there.
Yeah.
All right, after that, I think we're going to go on to the Olympics. We got some more Olympic news coming in. We got some update on Russia. They do not get the blanket ban.
So not everybody is being banned.
Their entire track and field was banned. Some of the rowing team was banned, but the rest of the squad, Olympic squad, can still compete.
Isn't there still some that's up for review? If I remember correctly, or have they came down and I just missed it?
So what we got is a total ban in athletics, so that's track and field and such. We got partial bans in aquatics, canoeing and kayaking, modern pentathlon, rowing, and sailing. Those all have partial bans. And then the not banned, the ones that are in the clear right now, are archery, equestrian, judo, shooting, and tennis. And the rest of the events are all up for review right now. So we may see more bans coming down. But they do not get the full ban, which I expected with the, obviously, state-sponsored doping. I really expected the committee to come down hard. But
yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that as well, that they didn't come a little bit harder. You know, like we've said before in previous weeks, that when you're on a stage like this, you do need to kind of set an example to a certain point.
Right.
And, you know, obviously taking illegal substances and giving you a competitive advantage is not it's not right. So.
Right. Yeah, so also some news coming out of the Olympics is a warning came out saying if you're going to be in the water, make sure you keep your mouth shut. They don't want water getting into your mouth because it will make you sick. Very, very sick.
That's just lovely.
Right. It makes pretty surprising that they're still allowing this to go on. I mean, I think it's too late now.
Yeah.
With it being a week or two away.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way they can make any changes now. The one American rower, I believe, was quoted as saying, "America, I will row through shit for you," literally.
Well, yeah, she's literally going to have to do that. I mean, the water down there is absolutely disgusting with the raw sewage everywhere. So
yeah,
it will make good TV, though, I guess. I mean, feel bad for the athletes, but I might tune in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out, but I can't imagine being an athlete in that situation.
No. I mean, they train all their lives for it. You got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely. Sticking with the Olympics, Coach K from Team USA says they're a little too loose, having a little bit too much fun out there, not taking it quite that serious.
You know, at first, I was like, man, you got to let them have fun. These are all-stars out there. But then I realized there's only 2 returning Olympians, Melo and KD. The rest of these guys are unexperienced. Maybe they do need to buckle down. I mean, they need to take this seriously, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it is, we saw in the past in 2004 that other teams can put up a fight. I mean, it may look easy this year, and I think everyone agrees that we're having an easy path to the gold, but you never know. There's always going to be one tough game, and if they're out there just messing around, maybe sneak up and surprise, and we don't want that to happen. So I agree with it. I mean, you obviously saw DeMar DeRozan going for an in-game 360 poster dunk.
Yeah.
Which, if completed, I agree with LeBron. He tweeted out
top 5 all time.
Yeah, top 5 all-time dunk. I mean, that was amazing. So
would have been better if LeBron would have finished his in the finals. Which one was better?
I think LeBron's just because it was on Draymond and it was in Game 7 of the finals. But DeRozan, that was an amazing dunk.
Yeah.
And then Clay pulled up for a super deep 3. I'm talking just inside half court. And the entire bench got up and started celebrating, and Coach K yelled at them all and just ripped into them about celebrating. So
I like that Coach K, is being firm on them and, not letting them just take it as a joke. And he is, he's taking it seriously. It's not something to be taken lightly. It is the Olympics. We're out there playing for our country, so
right.
I like that Coach K still is taking it serious.
Right.
We're going to keep moving on. Speaking, we just got done talking about all the nasty stuff in the water. Warren Sapp found some nasty stuff in the water, too.
Yeah, he got bit by a shark, which, I mean, is pretty rare in itself to get bit by a shark, but to have it be such a high-profile person, that's pretty insane. He is okay, which, I mean, I've seen some people put some nasty stuff on Twitter because he is known as a not too great human being, Warren Sapp is.
Yeah, I mean, what was it during the Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure he got arrested for picking up a prostitute or something.
Yeah, and he's had some domestic violence issues. So I've seen some nasty stuff on Twitter. Obviously, you don't want someone to get hurt or injured or killed or anything like that, but pretty crazy. I mean, that's just a little...
He just taped it up, kept going, like it was no big deal. Just got bit by a shark, no biggie.
Definitely a little interesting little tidbit there. Right. So we're going to go from there and move on to the Indians. We got some pretty big trade rumors coming out this year.
Right, yeah, the trade deadline just around the corner, August 1st at 4 p.m. It's the deadline to make some trades. Indians, as we talked about a little bit earlier with the Aroldis Chapman deal, They're looking for some help in the back of their bullpen, along with a little bit of help in the lineup.
Right.
I've been looking around and seeing that a lot of talk about Indians trying to get Jonathan LaCroix from the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay.
He's a catcher. He's 30 years old. He's having a pretty good year right now. He's batting 300, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs. I think he would be a good addition to the lineup to replace a struggling Yan Gomes.
Yeah, he's not looking too hot recently, is he?
Not at all. I love Yan. He's a great defensive catcher, and he's had a lot of success at the plate in years past. But this year, he's just not getting it done. The Indians have tried all kinds of different things, even going with the Major League sacrifice to Jabu ritual that they did in the locker room, and it still couldn't get Gomes out of his slump. He actually ended up getting hurt not long after that happened. So Jonathan LaCroix, I think, would be a great addition to the lineup. Another player that the Indians are looking at is Steve Pearce from Tampa Bay. He's an outfielder. The Indians, if they do complete this trade, would be the 6th team that he's played for in his career. He's batting .312, 10 home runs, only 29 RBIs, but it's another interesting thing. I see he's batting .312, so it shows me right now that the Indians are looking for someone that can get on base. They're batting .300, batting .312, and even another name that they're talking about is Eduardo Nunez from Minnesota. He's a third baseman, can also play shortstop and outfield. He's also batting .300.
Okay, yeah, I mean. Definitely sounds like they want another bat. I mean, obviously they were looking for that arm in the bullpen and get a closer, but it looks like they want to try to get another bat here too.
And we might be having some possible breaking news.
Yeah, Eric just put something in our little chat here. It looks like Carlos Beltran just got traded to the Indians.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's obviously a veteran. He's been around the game for a long time.
Right.
I'm curious to see.
What we gave up for him.
Yeah, what we give up for him. Hopefully nothing too important because I believe he's 39 years old. But so he's an older guy. He's still putting up some pretty decent numbers. But I think he could be a good addition to the lineup.
Yeah,
that veteran presence to the locker room.
That's kind of a head scratcher then if he's that old. You think? I mean, I guess get that veteran leadership, but yeah, hopefully we didn't give too many good prospects. I don't know how I feel about this trade right now.
Right, yeah, until we get more information, I'm curious, as we keep going, we'll update everything.
Yeah, it looks like Eric's going to keep looking up for us. Maybe we'll keep going, and we'll try to hit back on this maybe at the end, or we'll see where we can get there.
So earlier I mentioned Jonathan LaCroix from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Apparently the Indians are trying to do a one-stop shop and acquire two different needs because, we also mentioned that they need some help in the bullpen.
Right.
It looks like they're trying to get Will Smith, who's a relief pitcher.
Will Smith?
Will Smith.
As in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Will Smith?
Not that Will Smith.
That's not as exciting.
No, this guy, he's a left-handed relief pitcher. He's got an ERA of 3.72 and 19 innings pitched.
Yep. Which, I mean, that'd be nice if we could get both those guys. If we could swing a deal. I don't know what we give up. Do you see us giving up? I've seen on Twitter and heard some things. What do you think about giving up Michael Brantley?
Oh, there's no way we give up Brantley. Absolutely no way. Yeah, Brantley's just way too important. Obviously, this year he hasn't really had
Even
any
with him
impact.
Not playing us having such a great year already with everyone playing well, you don't think maybe give him up and get some more depth would be better?
No, with him being as important as he is, he was an MVP candidate last season when he was healthy. You don't trade an MVP candidate, someone that's young and that we have locked up to a pretty team-friendly contract.
Right.
We're, for once in a long time, we're buyers instead of sellers.
Yeah.
So we're not looking to give up some of our big players. We're going to give up some of our prospects. And, we're in win now mode here in Cleveland now that we got a championship under the belt.
Woo!
It's win now mode
all
around.
Be a Cleveland fan right now.
Yes, it does. So it's going to be interesting. I hate to part with some of these young prospects, like I said earlier, but it's a new feeling for me to be a Cleveland fan and be in buy mode as opposed to sell mode. So. It's something that I'm just going to have to adjust to, and all of us will have to adjust to as Cleveland fans.
All right. So I think that pretty much covers it for the Indians, right?
Yeah, all that I've seen, a little bit more that Andrew Miller guy from New York. Hopefully he was involved in that Carlos Beltran trade. We'll see.
Yeah.
But like I said, Indians are right now leading AL Central by 4.5 games. win now mode. We need to keep adding that talent to the team to keep us ahead.
Right. So I think that moves us on to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We touched on them earlier with Birdman going there. We also signed Ty Lue to an extension. Pretty big extension. We got 5-year, $35 million.
Yeah, so about $7 million a year for Coach.
Yeah, I mean, good for him.
He deserves it. He brought us a championship. I'll pay him $20 million a year for what he wants. I don't care.
Right.
We got a championship, and he helped us get there. The regular season didn't go all that smooth as they were making the adjustment to his style of play. Obviously when he came in, a lot of the talk was that he wasn't happy with the conditioning of the team. Mm-hmm. And so he was pretty hard on their cardio and, making them work pretty hard in practice. And they only went 27-14 in the regular season under him.
But, I mean, he earned his money in the playoffs. I mean, pretty much out-coached Steve Kerr. Yeah. Easily out-coached him. I mean, if you give Steve Kerr a 3-1 lead in the finals, you take that bet any day.
Any day.
And so he really pulled it out. And people make jokes saying LeBron's the coach, LeBron's this, LeBron that. But I think it was clear that Tyronn Lue had a great effect on our players and just our entire season. I don't think we win the championship without him, in all honesty.
Not at all. I'm with you. And you kind of touched on LeBron. Everyone's saying that LeBron is the coach, LeBron's the GM. He obviously has some respect for Ty Lue. We saw it when Blatt was still there, like the end of Blatt.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron talking to Ty Lue on the bench and not talking to David Blatt.
Yeah, right. Which was obviously big with the media, with them discussing it. But I don't know. Good for Ty Lue. Really good for him. So, big stat I just looked up is so he signed this extension for what was it?
$35 million.
5 years, $35 million,
yep.
$7 million a year. During his playing days, he had a very long playing career. He only made $21,300,000.
Really?
So he, in this contract, is making...
He's going to exceed his entire playing career.
So in the last, with this contract, and I think the contract last year, he may be doubling his playing career in just a couple of years, which, I mean, it really speaks to the NBA with how far the salary cap has come and how much people are just earning now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, he brought Cleveland a championship. $35 million for him is nothing to me. Like he deserves whatever he gets, and I'm okay with this contract. And
right.
I'm happy that we have Ty Lue for the next 5 years.
Same, good for him. Then we go on to some Browns news. I think the biggest news of the week and huge for us Browns fans is Josh Gordon got reinstated by the commissioner.
Finally, after applying once for reinstatement and getting denied. He got a phone call from Roger Goodell just a couple days ago saying that he will be reinstated to the NFL. He is eligible to participate in all the off-season activities.
Which is huge.
Yes, unlike Tom Brady, who's also suspended 4 games, which I guess I never said. Yeah. Josh Gordon is missing the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
But Gordon is allowed to, he's allowed to practice. He's allowed to play the preseason games. He can be there for the team meetings. Tom Brady cannot.
Right. Which, I mean, definitely different situations because Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I don't think he'll really miss a beat with being off the team. But Josh Gordon, who's been away from the team for over a year now, having this training camp and these preseason games is huge. I mean, he has a quad injury right now, so it looks like he'll be out a couple weeks, which I think really, really is bad. But
yeah, he needs to get in there and knock some of the rust off.
Still being in team meetings has got to be invaluable.
And I think a lot of the reason why the NFL is doing that is because they feel that that's what's best for Josh Gordon. I think that they really do want to see him succeed, and they know that putting him in a structured environment where he, is in meetings and practice and stuff 12, 14 hours a day, it's going to keep him out of trouble off the field.
Right. So, I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he was obviously the top receiver in the league a couple years ago. I just hope he really gets back into form. I'm rooting for him. I mean, it sucks to see him get suspended. I hate to see a player just...
He threw away so many great opportunities.
I know. So much money, so many opportunities, so many just...
I mean, where would the Browns be if we had Josh Gordon?
Right.
Because if you go down through the last 4 years, he came in, he was a second-round compensatory pick by the Browns in 2012. And in 2012, I think he had 800 yards and 5 touchdowns as a rookie,
Right.
which is pretty good for a rookie.
Respectable.
You're happy with that. And then in 2013, he was suspended for the first 2 games.
Yep.
Obviously with his
Abuse
issues, yeah. And then weeks 12 and 13, back-to-back weeks, he became the first ever player to have back-to-back 200 receiving yards.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and
with who throwing to him, one of the many Browns quarterbacks who it might have been Brian Hoyer at that time. Who knows?
I think Jason Campbell.
Jason Campbell was there.
Was the quarterback at the time.
So if you can get back-to-back 200-yard receiving games with Jason Campbell there, you're something special.
Right. He finished that season with 1,646 yards,
Wow.
leading the NFL. And like we said, he was suspended for the first 2 games.
Wow.
So he had more receiving yards in 2 less games than everybody else. He was named to the Pro Bowl, and he was the first team alongside Calvin Johnson. And then 2014, he was suspended for 10 games.
Yep.
Originally, it was a year, but then it was right when the new CBA took place, and under the new rules, it couldn't be an entire year. So it was reduced to 10 games in 2014.
And then he came back, and he just didn't have any chemistry with Brian Hoyer. I think that really stalled our offense. I mean, we were looking pretty good that year.
Right.
So I think him coming back may have hurt the team, in all honesty.
Yeah, 24 catches, 303 yards in only 5 games. He was suspended for Week 17 for breaking some team rules, which it was reported that him and Johnny Manziel attended a party and then they overslept and didn't make it to the team meetings and stuff the next morning. And so they were both suspended
for Week 17. I mean, it really is sad. I mean, he was obviously suspended all last year also. So
right. But now he's reunited with RG3, his college quarterback. Yeah. He said today in an interview that RG3 was the reason that he committed to Baylor back in 2009.
And their lockers are next to each other this year.
He said that's no coincidence. Yeah. So it's he said that RG3 is part of his support system to try to keep him out of trouble. So I think it's awesome.
And speaking of Baylor, our other starting receiver, Corey Coleman, also went to Baylor.
Right. How unique is that situation to have a Baylor quarterback and 2 Baylor receivers?
Obviously at different times. They didn't really overlap with each other, but still pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, good to have that connection and that brotherhood. It's obviously something they'll bond over. I think hopefully they can all keep each other in check. I mean, RG3 obviously has his off-the-field issues, maybe a little bit different, maybe
right. He's not any legal issues. He's just more of an ego issue, I guess.
So hopefully they can all coexist and help each other out. I haven't heard anything from Corey Coleman regarding off-the-field issues, so hopefully he doesn't develop any from these guys.
Right.
And hopefully maybe
anytime a young guy comes into a lot of money, you never know how they're going to react. That's when things can go south very quickly.
Right.
Corey Coleman, from everything I've seen and read and heard, he seems like a pretty stand-up dude. I don't think we should really have anything to worry about with him.
Right.
But the one question that I go back and forth on in my head is, should the Browns just trade Josh Gordon?
No, you missed that chance. I mean, you should have traded him last year, or not last year, the year before last year, 2014. That's when you had your chance to trade him.
When his value was at an all-time high.
That's when you had your value. You knew the risks. I think you got to stick with him now. I mean, obviously it's not going to take a lot. It might take a lot to re-sign him, but you got to play off his contract this year.
Yeah, so, I don't think he's going to have much. He won't have a whole lot of leverage in negotiations for a contract. So I think he'll be back to a very team-friendly contract whenever he does resign, if he does resign.
All right.
So, yeah, I think Josh Gordon should stay a Cleveland Brown. I think he will stay a Cleveland Brown as long as the off-the-field stuff is, under control.
I agree. So I think that's about it for this week. It doesn't look like we have any more updates on the Carlos Beltran situation. It looks like it might be a fake account, we were told. Not really sure yet.
Nothing has been confirmed as of this moment, so I guess I don't know. I don't know if I'm upset or okay with the fact that it might be fake.
Right.
I wasn't exactly thrilled, I guess.
I didn't. It didn't pop out as me as a good thing. So we'll see. Yep. I mean, hopefully we'll have more to talk about next week.
Go ahead and check us out on Twitter, Facebook. We'll keep you updated on there.
We just got another update from Eric, actually. It looks like there was a picture on the Twins scoreboard. So it is confirmed trade, as far as we can tell. So that may change. Who knows? We'll let you know next week for sure. That's how we do things now. We don't really confirm our rumors first. So we'll let you know. But, yeah, I think that's about it this week. Go ahead and check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, we're uploading to Podomatic and iTunes. Obviously, you wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't figure that out. So, go
Again,
ahead.
before we get out of here, big shout out to Eric.
Yep, as always, Eric holding it down with updating us and just getting the sound issues all figured out. So,
Couldn't do without him.
right. So, yep, thanks again. Again, check us out. Go to our website with our blog, thebaobserver.com. Got some great articles on there, and obviously that great food stuff also. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this week.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yep, have a good one.